Yes, I think what's happening in the market right now is some people are realizing that now is a good time to buy near the end of the year, and prices have gone down. Interest rates are lower than they were 5-6 months ago, and they're just take the bait and go ahead and run with it right now, so to speak. So.
Yeah. No, and I would agree with you. I just think it's timing is just as important as any other aspect in real estate. So, look, if you're a buyer, I think it's a great time to get out there. And I mean, you've had a few great listings that have kind of sold quickly with a lot of interest. But I think pricing listings accordingly is a big thing.
I think people are still looking across the price spectrum as well, and I think a lot of folks have just, like I say, decided that it's now or never kind of thing. I've always found and told people that the late fall, November, is an excellent time to buy, because anyone who has their house on the market at that time would really like to get it sold. Because it's a busy time of year for people. So I think it bodes well for buyers.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
That, you know, prices are structured so that they're in favor of the seller, and I think essentially sometimes people are afraid to make a lower offer as a buyer, and so they tend to sit on the shelf and not do anything.
Yeah,
I think that's a common myth out there. They also are afraid of offending a seller, but if a home's on the market, I think if you're as a buyer and it's been sitting there for a while, you can take advantage. Not so great for the seller, but from a buying perspective, that's definitely an advantage.
Even from the seller's perspective, you know, you want to see offers. You know, the market isn't as odd as it was in 2021, 2022. So seeing an offer, seeing pen to paper, you know, maybe it's not the number you want, but that's better than seeing a showing with no feedback or no interest. So there's really, as a buyer here, there's really no downside to submitting an offer.
No, not at all. And I think there's sellers out there who have not received any offers and would really like to see some evidence that their property is, you know, viable and a good fit for someone.
For sure, yeah.
It is their home, and a certain amount of pride there, but like I say, at this time of year, if you have your home for sale, you likely want to get it sold.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it's the buyers that dictate the value. You know,
that's right.
Listers, like when we list a home, we can put a list price on there, but if the buyers are coming in and you are seeing someone who puts pen to paper and their number is at a certain price, at least you're getting some indication of what the market's saying the value of the home should be.
And again, another, I think, misconception among buyers is that sellers won't be flexible, and some sellers aren't. They're still thinking that things are back from a couple of years ago, but they aren't. It's definitely in the buyer's hands. There's absolutely no question.
Yeah, and that's part of our job too, is to try and get that message across to the sellers and for the buyer. So, you know, I don't think anything should ever be offensive when it's done properly, but I think they want to put pen to paper.
No, you want to make sure that when you go into an offer presentation that everyone's aware it's not a war, they're not the enemy. Neither the seller or the buyer is the enemy. We're trying to basically balance a scale and make sure that as we can make everybody as happy as can be under the circumstances and the market conditions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we do see the odd multiple offer, and we still are seeing some more expensive homes sell as well. That's another misconception, but again, pricing has to be critical and accurate on basically any home that's out there right now. It's really, really an important factor that enters into getting a property sold.
And having a proper sales strategy. You know, in the market, we are still seeing people lowering price, holding off offers, and hoping for a bidding war, and it doesn't come. And then they have to recalibrate, you know, relist, and then try and get their house sold from there. So a sales strategy in this market is very important.
The best sales strategy is to try and price properly at the start. I know sometimes when you list a property, the seller would like to ask more, and that's their prerogative. They own the home. But usually evidence in the first 2 weeks, if there's not activity or there's not an offer, even in this time, because there still are a lot of buyers out there, I think it's time to lower the price. And like you say, with a sales strategy, make sure that your sellers, as a seller, are informed, and then once that price reduction happens, make sure it gets out in the marketplace very quickly.
For sure.
And make sure it gets out to all the people who in fact may have shown the property as well. So,
Yeah, and even just pricing accurately right off the hop. You know, your first week on market is going to have the most attention. It's going to hit MLS. It's going to be on everyone's plate. And if it's priced properly right off the hop, that means more success in that first week and usually a quicker sale.
Yeah, the longer the house is on the market, it loses traction because there's always a new flavor, new product coming on the market. So, like say in the first 3 weeks, they're really critical and things can drag on. We've had houses that have sold very quickly and then other ones that drag out, and sometimes there is no reason. The price may be right, just not buyers for that specific property out there.
Yeah, so the pitfalls of overpricing your home right off the hop are that first week. You know, the first week when it goes on, you have your open houses, your agent open houses. It gets on everyone's radar, and if people come in and they feel it's overpriced off the hop, it can turn people off. You know.
Yeah, I think what happens there too is the longer a home sits on the market, sometimes, especially if it's a good house on the visuals, people start to wonder what's wrong with it, or they start to think that the seller's very difficult, and then will tend to shy away from it and look elsewhere. There's an awful lot of product on the market right now. Albeit some good, some bad, some in between, but there's certainly more selection for people than there was 3-4 years ago. I have buyers out there right now that they're basically waiting to pounce on something that they feel is good value, and the only way you can get good value is proper pricing.
Yeah. Well, and a buyer's mentality when they walk through a house that they feel is overpriced is they may walk through and like the house and be like, well, I really like this house. This price I don't like. I think they're out to lunch on this price. So they walk through the house and in the back of their head, their thought is, well, I'm not going to submit an offer because I think it's too high. Yeah. If they walk through that house and they think it's priced fairly, then there's really no reason for them to say no. So that would be one of the biggest things when you get those interested people in the back of their mind, they're saying, well, I'm not going to put an offer because it's priced too high. And if some buyers will even say, well, I'm just going to wait. I'll let it sit. And if it's still on the market in a month or in 2 months, maybe then they'll be more flexible. And then the sellers then are vulnerable to having that lower price anyways.
Yeah, the buyers I have are very patient, and a lot of them are, like I say, sitting there ready, waiting for the proper price and the proper home to come along, because they do have the selection and they do know that there's more houses coming on the market.
Yeah.
All the buyers are out there, and like I say, they can pick and choose.
Exactly.
Yeah. That is actually true. Nick was famous, I was infamous.
Yeah, we've got a few Spartans on the team here.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
I think John was known more by the principal than anyone else.
I was, although I tried to stay around there somewhat.
Well, I mean, a big thing is having your house show well. You know, making sure it presents in its best light, you know, whether that's staging, whether it's decluttering, you know, making sure it's a place that people can come in and see, oh, I can move right in and I can put my stuff down and live here right away. I'm finding a lot of buyers are not wanting to have to put a lot of work or look at a place and say, oh, well, I need to do X, Y, and Z before I can make this place my own, and then they'll kind of put that property to the back burner.
Very important. Cleanliness, probably the number one, and then again, as Nick says, reducing clutter. I think from a standpoint of walking through homes, you could certainly have them maybe overstaged, but the clutter is critical mass and cleanliness. I've had clients walk in a house and it's not clean at all, and they just walk right back out. It's so important to have the house ready to present to the public, and although you live in a certain way, unfortunately that goes out the window when you have your house for sale. I just tell people you can live in your house or you have it for sale, and they're two different animals completely. So, and when we have it for sale, we've got to present it out, put it out there to the public that,
for sure,
you know, you're interested in selling, and that shows that.
Yeah.